It feels like we have to constantly be doing more to keep up, gun for the top programs, and do this to get ahead of 99% of people. But what if I told you we've been looking at it the wrong way? Our eyes are always glued to new possibility, but in reality, the secret to achieving more with less is distilled in an ancient practice, the simple philosophy of origami. It's been a guide that's made me more productive, creative, and even earn more by doing less. And I want to share with you how it can do the same for you. Origami comes from oru, meaning fold, and kami, meaning paper. Now, thousands of years ago, when Buddhist monks traveled to Japan and introduced paper, it was a luxury. You couldn't buy reams of 500 at the store, and you definitely wouldn't see people doing this with it.
So awesome.
Paper was sacred, and out of respect and probably a lack of inventory, origami was done using a single sheet. No alterations, no cuts. Because of that, origami became an art. People began to play and devote thousands of hours in deep focus to fold a single sheet of paper into something spectacular. A single sheet of paper holds endless possibilities, and that idea was key to solving one of the biggest struggles in my life. When we first started our business, we had no clue what we were doing. Honestly, we still kind of don't know what we're doing. So we did what any rookie would do. We tried everything. One week it was drop shipping, next week Skillshare, then low ticket sales, high ticket sales, merch, but nothing really stuck. And it wasn't clicking for me how anyone else was making it work. I felt like a pinball just bouncing from idea to idea. But it wasn't until I stopped chasing and focused deeper with what I already had that things changed. I realized, just like origami, I had to focus on one thing for a long time and drown out all the other distractions in order to create something spectacular. Because what happens when we spend a long ass time doing something, we start to suck less at it. Get better at doing what you do so that you get more for doing less. It took us 4 years and 420 videos to reach 1 million subscribers on YouTube, right? It's not a race. And I don't know why I thought I could shortcut the process of building a stable business in a couple months. So right now we are completely focused on building StudyQuest, which is our learning skills program. It's only been about 9 months or so, and we're just starting to see things fall into place. And the challenge is going to be to keep at it and resist temptations, right? I think it's so hard to resist temptations of trying all this new stuff, especially when we don't start to see progress immediately. But what I've learned is you just got to keep folding. It might take a long time. It could be hundreds or even thousands of folds and mistakes before anything might start taking shape. But trust me, it's worth it when you get there. Once a fold has been made, it is impossible to undo. This is washi, traditional Japanese paper for origami, and it's made of strong fibers from the inner bark of a kozo tree. It's highly durable, but still flexible to layer fold on fold on fold, in the same way that we live with our actions and our decisions. It's like scar tissue. And even though it's messy or imperfect and the folds can't be removed, there is something special about that. I thought by transitioning from medicine to this entrepreneur thing, I was making the biggest mistake of my life. And I still might be, who knows? That's a topic for a different video. But I felt like I was starting from scratch. But I was wrong. I've invested 10 years of my life folding this structure. And I realized there are a lot of transferable folds that I could fuse into building my business. For example, like sales is really similar to a doctor-patient interaction. We first gather a detailed history to identify their pain points, and then we can decide if we could prescribe anything to help them or if we should just refer them out to another service. We modeled our client CRM like an EMR or electronic medical record. The same way we used to document follow-ups and labs for our patients, we use that to organize our clients and our students. And the way that I coach students in StudyQuest is the same way that residents showed me the ropes when I was training to become a doctor. Everything you've ever done led you to where you are right now. And with it comes all those skills, beliefs, and the lessons that you picked up along the way. And I think we forget how much we've been through and focus too much on like how far we have to go. In Buddhist temples, monks make it a practice to use everything until they can't be used anymore. They call it mottainai, which literally translates to what a waste. They believe that all things we own should be respected and appreciated for what they are. There are no wrong folds. Just keep folding, and eventually one fold can change the entire direction of your life. Just like how a single fold can change a piece of paper, a single act can change your life. So one of the reasons I decided to start a business was to have more freedom. But reflecting on some of the decisions that I've made over the past few years, I realized that I've kind of done the opposite. Like my YouTube setup got more and more elaborate. I'm chronically working on multiple projects at the same time. And why do I suddenly have 10 people to manage in different time zones? My life has gotten so complicated. It's been a struggle to stay afloat. So lately, I've been searching for ways to simplify things to regain some freedom. And while attempting to fold a paper crane, I realized the answer was right in front of my face. Like origami, anything is possible as long as you have the right folds in the right places. Flexibility. One way I've simplified things is to create a focus toolkit, the essential carry that I need to work anywhere, anytime, without sacrificing quality. So I scoured through all of my stuff and compiled it down to these things: camera, microphone, headphones, backup storage, sunnies, hydration, hygiene, power, focus band, and my big three as an Apple head, MacBook Pro, iPad, and iPhone. And all of this stuff fits neatly into my bag. Now, while there aren't really strict rules to origami, there are some guidelines that help us create more intricate designs. One of which being the importance of balance for stability. Every fold needs a balancing, symmetrical fold in order to maintain structure. Otherwise, you get catastrophe. So when I'm stuck with work or during super stressful times, I used to think that if I could only solve this one thing in my life, all of my problems would go away, right? That suddenly I'd have all of this abundance of time to do more stuff. But the more problems I've solved, I only realize how much farther that dream becomes, because life naturally just complicates itself. And I realize now my mistake was trying to make folds without balancing the equation. We're all forced at some point in our life to take on more responsibility. But if we don't balance it out, then things start to slip away. To do more with less, you have to be doing less. If you inhale, you have to exhale. If you work, you have to play. If you stress, you have to rest. If you say yes to something, you have to say no to something else. That statement is actually a bit more literal than I first understood. We can't sustainably do more without balance. And so this idea of balancing the scales is something I've been very mindful about recently. Whenever I think about introducing something into my life, I wonder now, what is the balancing act I need to do in order to maintain that stability? So at the end of the day, I think what origami has really taught me is to appreciate the simple things in life, to reflect back on the essentials that bring me joy and then immerse myself in those things. It's so easy to get caught up in chasing goals and feel stressed about all this stuff that we have to do or that we don't have. And in the process, I realized that when I feel that way, I end up rushing and running for everything. But ironically, it's in slowing things down. It's in immersion and savoring those small wins and those moments that get us where we need to go more quickly. And we'll also enjoy the process a lot more in doing so. Progress comes from persistence, precision, and patience. And all those things are fundamental to being good at origami. Be thoughtful with each fold that you do. All it takes to do more with less is to be more mindful in the way that we do things.